Welcome to Behind the Muscle Podcast. Today's guest is an NPC bodybuilder. Today's guest is Alberto Acosta. Alberto, welcome to the podcast, my man.
What's going on, Quentin? How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. Just been podcasting like a crazy man all weekend. So just excited to chop it up with you. Just a few days out from North American. So I'm excited to have you on, excited to kind of hear about your story and get into this prep. So the first question I have for you is, who are a few of your favorite bodybuilders of all time?
Of all time. I guess we'll start with Lee Haney. I've always just respected the way he carried himself, more so as a man first, bodybuilder second, not letting making muscle have an ego of you. He was never egotistical, and I've always appreciated that. Second would have to be Ronnie Coleman, but not for the obvious facts, his sayings and the heavyweights. It was more so he was the one that legitimately got me into bodybuilding. I saw him on the cover of MD, and that's what set me forward to that. And I would say another one that I respect a lot is Jay Cutler.
Awesome, man. That's three Olympians right there, and three awesome human beings. Kind of like you said, it's more than just the physique, right? So at what age did you start lifting weights, and why did you start lifting weights at that specific age?
So I think I had just joined the gym at 19 years old. So about a year after I graduated high school. I was pretty much overweight most of my life. And then kind of during that graduation point, I started doing like some home workouts just to try to get in better shape. And then found this gym, which was a friend of my mother's. He's the owner, and started joining that gym, to want to lift weights and look better, and started doing that and stuck with it since.
Okay. Awesome, man. Okay. So, Alberto, let us know a little bit more about kind of your upbringing, your childhood. So, where did you grow up? What was life like for you as a younger person? Were you involved in any extracurricular activities? If so, what were they? Just paint that picture a little bit up to about high school, and then we'll move on from there.
Let's see, my childhood. I would have to say, for the most part, my childhood was pretty good. I had raised by a single mother. She did anything and everything she could to support me and make sure I had everything I needed. The area we grew up was not that good, to say the least. So hence me being overweight throughout that time, because I wasn't allowed to leave the house until she got home, to play outside or do whatever. So I was just inside playing video games, eating snacks all day. But I had a pretty normal childhood. I had some birthday parties, friends at school. It was nothing out of the ordinary. Just a lot of ups and downs coming up, and then we moved around quite a bit. Elementary school and middle school was in the same area. I was homeschooled for a year. Then I came over to a different area, which was a lot nicer neighborhood. It was way safer. And I went through middle school all the way through high school.
Now, you grew up in the Chicago, Illinois area? Is that kind of what you're referring to?
I didn't really grow up in Illinois, it's more Indiana. But pretty much just outside of Chicago. I'm like 45 minutes outside.
Okay. Now, I want to ask you, growing up with just your mom around and not having, your dad and stuff, did that have any effect on you when you were younger? If so, how did that kind of affect you positively or negatively?
Looking back, over the last couple of years, I've been doing a lot of internal searching and, thinking about things like that. But looking back, I think it was both positive and negative. Negative in the fact that, as a young kid, you would latch on to, you know, any person that would emulate a father figure because that's what you wanted around. And obviously it would kind of hurt when they would leave or anything like that. But positive in the fact that it made me be able to learn these things for myself, to catch on what I do and don't want to be like as I'm coming up, kind
Hmm. Yeah, no, that's a great point. I don't know if I've ever thought of it like that before. Now you mentioned being overweight. Did that have an impact on you when you're younger? I mean, did you get made fun of? Did that kind of mess with you emotionally? If so, just kind of touch on that for a minute, if you don't mind.
of. As far as getting made fun of, yeah, I definitely did. It wasn't like brutal by any means, but as a young kid, I've dealt with depression. And I think at that time, you really don't know how to handle emotions properly, obviously. So things felt more dramatic than what they actually were. So at that point, yeah, it did have an effect on me. It made me feel kind of low and worthless.
Yeah. Were there, outside of your mom, really, providing for you and stuff, were there any other adults when you were younger, teacher, coach, or anything like that, that really, as you look back and reflect, had a positive impact or influence on your life?
Male or female?
Yeah, it doesn't matter, just an adult or maybe even an older child or older person.
Um, so as a kid, not really. I mean, I had teachers and everything, and but nothing, no one I really looked up to. Not until honestly, um, when I first started actually bodybuilding and got my first coach. Like, that was the person who I really looked up to and still do. He became more of a father figure.
Cool. And we'll get into that here in a minute.
Yeah.
So most of us, when we're younger, Alberto, we kind of have some sort of thoughts of what we want to do when we get older or when we grow up or when we get out of high school. When you were younger, when you were kind of a teenager, did you have any thoughts about what you wanted to do when you were an adult, when you got out of high school, when you quote unquote grew up? If so, what were you kind of thinking?
To be honest, I didn't really put much thought into anything in the high school, which is sad to say. I was one of those kids that was kind of just there just to get through it. Um, so no, I can't really say that I had like a career goal in mind that I wanted to do. I just I just know I always wanted to do something. If anything, I always liked working with my hands. That was just my
Yeah, awesome. Okay, so 19 years old, you joined the gym. Why don't you pick it up from there and start unpacking your bodybuilding story? Because you're overweight and you start doing some research. It sounded like you wanted to lose some weight. Why don't you just tell us a little bit about the beginnings of bodybuilding, the beginnings of losing that weight, the beginnings of this fitness journey that you're still on to this point.
Yeah. So as I said, I walked into the gym. I was probably there for at least a good week. Just doing the same routine every day, just having a blast in there for like 3 or 4 hours. Young kid, nothing to do, just graduated high school and just going balls out, having fun. And then one day I saw an MD magazine, and I saw Ronnie Coleman on the cover. And not knowing who he was, not knowing anything of his backstory, I just saw him, and I'm like, that's what I want to do. Well, I don't know why, but that looks just amazing. So much fun. Um, so that was the start of that. Like I was just lifting weights and eating how I thought I should eat. I was still eating like McDonald's, you know, post workout like muffin or something like that. Um, and then I would ask around the gym, people I saw who were in pretty good shape, what they ate and how they ate. And essentially, I got all the advice the same way through, eat less than you burn, to lose and so on and so forth, blah, blah, blah. So I kind of went with that, but I took it way overboard. I legit was eating like 500 calories for like a month because I didn't know what any of that was. I didn't really ask anything more than what should I do, you know? So I did that, and it kind of messed me up for a while, especially my digestive system, where I couldn't go to the bathroom for like a week at a time. But went past that and eventually got the diet in better order. And when I started eating properly, I was at like what, low 200s, maybe like 205. And I got up to like 235, but still lean because my body was just that depleted.
You still there, Alberto? Are you there,
You hear me?
Alberto?
Yeah, you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Did you well, I don't know where we left off, or was the last part you heard?
You were talking about you got up to like 230, 235, and you were staying lean.
Oh yeah, and then like I said, I didn't step on stage till about 2 years later. So that was 2012, and 2014 is when I first got on stage.
Okay, so when you started going to the gym and lifting weights, I mean, how did you kind of figure out what to do at the gym in terms of lifting? Was it bodybuilding.com? Was it some forum? Was it YouTube? How did you kind of teach yourself how to lift weights?
Um, Honestly, I did watch a lot of YouTube stuff. It was like a lot of fitness people whom like I can't even remember their names now. I would just watch the videos and see how they would, what they would work out, how they would work out, and then ask a lot of people at the gym and everything like that. And I would kind of follow along with their routine sometimes, like there were a couple 30-year-olds and they would just take me under their wing and show me some stuff. That's kind of how I learned and progressed from there.
So your current coach is Brandon Beckrich, who he's been on the podcast. Awesome dude. Before I hit record, you mentioned that he's kind of one of the early influences in your life, and he's still your coach at this point. So why don't you expound a little bit on your relationship with Brandon and what he kind of means to you beyond just being your coach?
Yeah, for sure. So it's funny, our early years relationship, it's like I feel like it's always been like a younger, older sibling thing, like just like that stupid little rivalry, or like looking back on it, I was one of those like stupid kids in the gym. Now you just see to just annoy the hell out of you. And I always thought like Brandon was just being an asshole to me just cause, not knowing like going through prep, you're exhausted, and you have some asshole kid making noise, blah blah blah. Um, but like over the years, we went back and forth, we started talking, and then we had a lot of heart to hearts. And he, even when I first started at the gym, he would show me different movements and how proper form and everything like that. And later in the later years, we would hang out some more. We would go out to eat for breakfast. Went to the classes together, things like that. And then 2 years ago, so the whole big mess happened with the coach beforehand, and I reached out to Brandon, talking about us working together, and then he said yeah, and we took it from there. So um, I had all last year off. So like after Nationals 2020, I took the rest of the time off. So about like a year and a half off season, and that's what we've just been working on.
So at what point did you and Brandon start having like a coach client relationship? What year?
End of 2020. So it was no, I'm sorry. It was beginning of 2021 when I got on with Condemned, because I remember I was out in New York for a photo shoot.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you go from somebody that just wants to lose weight, joining the gym at 19, and then in 2014, you said you did your first bodybuilding competition. So how did that first competition go? Did you have a coach? Did you prep yourself? Why don't you talk about that? Because that's kind of like a pretty big jump from, just joining the gym, losing weight, kind of teaching yourself how to lift weights to actually stepping on a bodybuilding stage. So how did that first show go for you in 2014?
So I had a coach for that show, and that was the first coach I mentioned, who was like a father figure to me. He so I we started talking back in, I think, 2012, and then end of 2013 is when I told him that I felt ready to do it, and that's when we started going from there. But that show, I ended up taking first in overall in novice and second
Okay. Was it an NPC show or was it some other organization?
NPC.
Okay. So, your first coach, who you said was kind of like a father figure to you, I want to learn a little bit more about that because that I think that was probably a pivotal individual in your life. So, what was his name, and how did he kind of take you underneath his wing, and did he kind of speed up your knowledge in terms of bodybuilding?
Um, so his name is Rodney White. Um, I got introduced to him through a buddy from my old church years ago, around like 2011 mark. So we started to talk about what I wanted to do with bodybuilding and things like that. Um, so I felt at that point in my life, I was still at a time where I was very emotionally unstable. Um, Again, with the depression, not really knowing how to handle things or emotions and thoughts, and he was able to talk me through things. Um, he was also want to teach me how to take a step take a step back and look at different points of views from all aspects before jumping the gun, reacting, blah blah blah. So he helped me through a lot, not just teaching me through bodybuilding, but teaching me how to be a man in life. Simple little things like opening doors and being able to just to again take a step back and reflect on things that you're doing yourself as well as someone else's, whatever. But yeah, he did expel on my knowledge a lot for bodybuilding. There's a lot of old school things at first, because that's how he came up, and he taught me a lot with that. So that was a cool starting point to go from there, to where I'm at now, implementing kind of both worlds. So, but yeah, no, he was definitely a big uh, role model in my life and someone that I still look up to.
Yeah, I love that, man. Now, when did you first do? So after your 2014 competition, what was next for you in terms of competing?
Um, so that was the only show that year. 2015, I went on to do NPC Indianapolis, I think, and then we went to Junior Nationals, which jumped the gun on that, which looking back, obviously, but it was kind of just a thing to do, you know. Um, and we worked together all the way up until like 2000, I want to say 19, him and I. Yeah.
How did junior nationals go the first time you competed there?
Oh, I got dead last. Dead last. 16 out of 16.
What was your takeaway though from that? I mean, that's you win your first show, you probably are, maybe feeling yourself a little bit, or like, man, like I've got some talent with this bodybuilding thing, and then you go and get last place. I mean, was that humbling? Was there some takeaways for you personally with junior nationals?
Um, you know what? When it comes to like losing shows, there's only one show that I remember losing. Well, I got third place, which was the NPC Indianapolis right before junior nationals. And for some reason that really upset me. And actually the reason why is it's embarrassing, but the first year competing, like the last week, I ended up cheating a little bit, right? And so I ended up winning first in novice and second in open, which by the way, if during that show, I was not nervous at all. I had a blast getting on stage. But yeah, going back to that. And then I ended up getting third place in the second show I did. And I was like, I followed everything to a T. Didn't cheat, didn't do anything, wrong. And then for some reason, it kind of messed with my head. But as far as like junior nationals go, I didn't really get butthurt about it because I kind of knew that I didn't really have the size or, it was just a fun thing for me to do. But I never really take any losses personally. It's just a learning curve. What I got to do.
Yeah. So after junior nationals, you got 16 out of 16. What was next for you in terms of bodybuilding?
So we shut it down after that. And then we ended up doing I think we did the Chicago Pro-Am 2017, if I'm not mistaken. I'm pretty sure I did two shows. Yeah, we did the Chicago Pro-Am and Indiana State Championship that year. I got first overall in Chicago Pro-Am, and then I ended up getting first in super heavies for the Indiana State, but I did not.
Okay. So, going through these competitions, and I mean you're winning shows. That's obviously a positive thing. I mean, at what point, Alberto, did you kind of think that, hey, this is something that I can actually really excel at, and this might be a career, or this might be something that I can do for a long time? Was there kind of a turning point where you're like, okay, I'm kind of dabbling in this bodybuilding thing? And then at what point were you like, okay, like I'm like, I love this. I'm good at this, and I can really take this as far as I want. Was there a turning point at some point?
Honestly, since my first show, in my head, I'm like, it wasn't like something I thought that I can do. It was just like, this is what I want to do. Nothing else, was in the back of my head. I'm like, this is it. This makes me happy, and I truly enjoy this. I truly enjoy meeting the people I meet and seeing what all bodybuilding can bring. Because there's so much like negativity today painted around bodybuilding, and I could never understand why for the life of me. If you don't like it, why are you in it? But I just think that done properly, that it can shed such a light, to your life, in my opinion.
What's the thing that really pulled you into bodybuilding? Like, you just started off by wanting to lose weight at the gym, but obviously you saw Ronnie Coleman, you're like, hey, I want to look like that. But past that, like, once you've kind of gotten deep into competitive bodybuilding, what keeps you going? What is it that you love about it so much?
It's the whole creation. It's the fact that you're taking your own two hands, your own pain tolerance, your own whatever it is that you do to get through whatever it is you have to get through during that workout. You're dieting and feeling like death, your last couple weeks. That's on you, and it's like you're creating that. No one can take it from you, even if like you fell a little short. The fact is, you put in that work for X amount of weeks, months, years. No one can take that away from you. Like, this is all yours. And the fact that I can continuously, day by day, make something like this, that is, to me, the beauty of it is that it's temporary, right? This isn't going to last. So it puts me in a place to where I have to enjoy this daily and not be so caught up in the past or the future, which is always my two big things. It makes me stay present in what I'm doing because I love it so much.
That's beautiful, man. So let's go back into competing. So you won those couple of shows, I think Indiana and Chicago Pro Am. What was after that? Did you get back up on a national level stage, or where were we at with competing?
18, I did junior nationals again. And I got pretty much last again. It was like 5 super heavies on there, so I got fifth. I know, I'm sorry, there was like 6 of us, but for some reason that last guy never showed up to finals. But he was like, not trying to put him down, but he just wasn't in shape. um, and then after that, we shut it down for, oh, okay, I remember what we did. The junior nationals that year, and then 2019 we did junior nationals again, and then I ended up going to North Americans, but that's when I started working with a different coach.
All right. So how did North Americans go the first time?
I ended up getting third call outs, or it was last call out. Got me in the middle, but I just was really, really flat. I could not fill out for the life of me, and that was just the thing where the communication wasn't that good between me and the coach. No like bad words or anything, but it's just, yeah.
It happens, right? I mean, that's kind of part of bodybuilding. When you get a coach, sometimes it just doesn't work out, just like other relationships in life, right? So
Right.
You kind of, you live and you learn, you move on. So let's what did you do? Well, I think you mentioned earlier that you did nationals in 2020. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. How did that go for you?
Last call outs again.
Okay.
Yeah.
Same coach or a different coach?
Different coach at the time. Yeah, that was New York based coach.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's the takeaway for you? I mean, you've won shows, you've, you know, maybe not done quite as well as you'd like on the national level. So in your mind, you love bodybuilding. This is your thing. You're gonna do it no matter what. But there's got to be some sort of like mental block or mental struggle or frustration or something inside of you when you're not performing the way you would want on the national stage. What was your takeaway from some of those performances that maybe weren't as good as you would have liked?
A lot of it is, I know I have to work on my patience and my anxiety. I feel like I can it's hard for me to get really relaxed when I get to those shows, right? But then like, and obviously if I don't have the communication with my coach, it makes me like psych out more. Not that I'm like using that as like a excuse of anything that happened, because like I don't feel like my cortisol levels mess me up or anything like that, but I do think that like my anxiety can make me overthink and overstress and stuff like that. But like I said, it just, I realize now like I have to have a personable relationship with the person I'm working with as well, because the lack of communication, poor communication, like that can't be a thing. And make matters worse is when certain people approach you to say that they want to do it for free. You said that, and then kind of left me to fend for myself at that point. It is what it is.
Yeah. So before we kind of get into this North Americans prep, what's how do you pay the bills nowadays? Like, do you have a career outside of fitness and bodybuilding? Are you a trainer? What does that look like, if you don't mind me asking, Alberto?
So I do security work.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So I've been doing some more security work, and then I'm starting to pick up more on online clients. I wasn't doing it for the longest, and then Brandon kind of kicked me in my ass and like, why not just get yourself going? It's like you have the knowledge, just do it. I was like, yeah, that's true. So I kind of work with just close people that I know that'll listen and who actually want the help. Because I was personal training for a long time, but I kind of just got over people with excuses and not wanting to do it and kind of just wasting my time.
Yeah. Yeah. Are you going to try to continue to grow kind of the online coaching thing and maybe do that full time at some point? Or do you kind of like having a career that's not fitness or bodybuilding related at all?
Um, I mean, the job I have now, honestly, it's really easy. Unless like I get a call, I really don't have to do much. So I get my meals in. Nobody really bothers me, so I don't mind it. But as far as making online coaching a career, I'm not entirely sure that I would want to do that per se, because I'm not like coaching any competitors. It's more like just everyday life stuff. Um, so I mean, if it gets to that point, cool, but it's not really something I'm looking to grow per se. Just some extra income, you know.
Yeah. Okay, let's get into when you well actually before we talk about Brandon again and kind of like you working with him, um I love asking this question to a lot of the guests because I really want to try to help, the people that listen to this podcast, that are watching this podcast. I want to try to glean some things from you guys so that the listeners, the subscribers, the viewers can kind of like learn some things from our conversations and hopefully grow in terms of bodybuilding themselves. So in terms of coaching, like there's so many coaches out there. There's a lot of charlatans. There's a lot of people that are saying they're this and that, but they're not. So you've had, a couple great coaches, and you've had maybe some coaches that didn't work out as well as you would have liked. What are some things from your experiences working with coaches that you can kind of share with us, Alberto, that maybe we can watch out for, or what do you look for when you are wanting to find a coach? What would be some suggestions for all of us?
Personally, for me, again, communication is key, but also like being able to have a relationship. That being said, I do know people are different. Some people don't want to have like a closeness with their, coach or their client. They just want it to be strictly business. Um, so I guess for those kind of people, this isn't for them. But me personally, I feel like having a closer relationship helps a lot because there is no like walking on eggshells or tiptoeing around things. You could just tell it how it is. At least that's how it is with me and Brandon. I mean, I know it's how he is with everyone, but he's not going to spare feelings, and I appreciate that when we talk and stuff, because that's what I believe we as men need to be able to be upfront and say what it is.
Yeah. Communication and having a strong relationship. That's um, definitely important in terms of coach and client. Now, did you take all of 2021 off then? Was that kind of like a growth season for you, off season?
Yeah, so that was the plan with us because him and I talked about it, and I was like, part of me wanted to compete last year, but I also know like mentally, mentally and physically, definitely wasn't ready. I was kind of just I was beating myself down bad about nationals. Um, it kind of made me feel like, what the hell am I doing? I'm not even a good bodybuilder, I guess. What's the point? But him and I talked, and he again kicked me in my ass, and just trying to get my head right through that entire time. Like it was just a struggle for me. Not just in terms of bodybuilding, but just in life as well. The whole depression that just kicked in. But yeah, that we just used that time to revise and reflect on what we needed to do and to try to change my physique.
So, what show did you get your qualification to compete at North Americans this year at then?
The same show that you did that interview with Joey, Michigan.
Oh, okay, cool.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
So yeah, we got only two supers there. So
Okay. Perfect, man. That works. And was that earlier this year then?
that was about last weekend, I want to say, or something like that.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool. Okay, so North Americans, at what point did you guys decide you were going to do North Americans? Was that something that you guys decided at the end of last year, earlier this year? When did you decide North Americans, you and Brandon?
Um, I want to say it was probably around like sometime mid off season because we were talking about shows like as we were approaching prep time. So I think it was around like either North Americans last year or somewhere around that point. We talked about it.
Okay. So this prep, how has this prep gone? Obviously, if you just did a show last weekend, you got a couple shows, but overall, how do you feel this prep has gone with having the year off last year? Do you feel like things are really firing on all cylinders? Why don't you just give us a little bit of the details?
Honestly, man, this has been by far the best prep I've ever had. Um, I mean, right now I do feel like crap. I can't even lie. Today kind of hit me. But that's a given. Other than that, things have been pretty smooth. Little stresses in life here and there, but nothing to really throw you off course. But the prep itself, the training, uh, mind muscle connection, food has been good. Digestion's been good. Haven't really had much issues with anything. My only issue is, which gets me every time, is my sleeping. Um, so I just try to do what I can do and get sleep how I can get it. Other than that, it's been good.
Okay. How much cardio have you worked yourself up to during this prep?
Um, All together, like per day, it's only about an hour, 10 minutes.
Cool.
Yeah, so not much.
So I want to ask you a little bit about training before I ask you a few more specific questions about North Americans. How do you train? Kind of what's your philosophy? Has Brandon kind of influenced you in terms of your training from maybe where you're at in the past? What does training look like for you?
So right now, I'm still following the push-pull leg split. Um, and each round is kind of different as far as like the muscle groups are trained and how I train them. Um, but yeah, Brandon has shown me a lot of different techniques for different machines, different movements. So in that sense, he has influenced a lot of it, and especially like just different tempos and things like that. But as of now, we just kept training throughout the same, but it will change come off season.
Okay. What's been I'm assuming like most bodybuilders, you just want to overall get bigger, right? But are there some areas as you've competed that maybe you've gotten some judges feedback, or you just know yourself that you're trying to bring up some specific body parts or specific areas? If so, what are those?
Um, so honestly, critiquing myself from the last show, I do want my legs to come up, my glutes, my back definitely needs to come up. I mean, honestly, I feel like I need to progress everywhere, but I do know I need thicker lats, upper chest, arms can grow, and I do want to add more, like I said, to the lower half.
Okay. What if you don't mind me asking, I'll ask you one more thing about training and then we'll move on. But like
Yeah.
legs is something that, a lot of people either have legs or they don't. What are some things
Mhm.
that you have maybe implemented or Brandon's kind of shown you in terms of technique, in terms of adding some size to your legs?
Um, it's the certain things that we do when we train together that I wouldn't necessarily think of to do on my own just because I'm just thinking about the training per se, I guess. So like different tempos or different speeds or half to full reps, kind of stuff like that. And he'll push me through to like, 20 plus reps sometimes and just kill me on that. So I would say with him and I training during this prep too, like we would train once a week and every week we'd have the best session ever just because he would just push me that hard. And I loved it.
Yeah, yeah. He's Brandon's got some wheels on him, don't he?
Yes, he does. Yes, he does, even though he thinks he doesn't.
You know when he's going to be stepping on stage next, or is that a secret?
Um, there's been talk like him and I have talked about like what he wants to do and how he going about things and just trying to handle stuff with the gym and life and blah blah blah. Um, I'm personally hoping next year, because I do want to see him on stage. It's been a while, and I feel like we know with him and I talking, I feel like he's in a better spot mentally, and he has a better control on, he's talked about his Hashimoto's and stuff. And I think, with him having a better control of that, it's going to be good.
Yeah,
because we'll see what happens.
Yeah, because when I talked to him on the podcast, I thought, if I remember correctly, he was going to compete at USA's this year, and then I sent him a message, and he said he wasn't right before USA, so I don't know what happened there. But man, I would love to see him back on stage. That's for sure. He's got a pro caliber physique, no doubt. So
yeah, he does. Like I said, he's very. I guess him and I are alike on that because we're very hard on ourselves. But I told him the progress he's made since his last time on stage, like he blows his physique out the water right now. Like, he looks really good.
Yeah. Well, whenever you get back on stage, Brandon, we'll be excited to back you, man, and see that physique that you bring. So, North Americans, what's your plan? Super heavies, talk to us about that. And then, what is when North Americans is over this year, you'll be happy if what? So are you going to compete in supers or heavies? And then you'll be happy if you accomplish what this year at North Americans?
So I want to come down to heavies. Okay. And honestly, we're pretty much right there. There also may be another secret inside, so we'll see what happens. I don't want to spill too much yet. But I will be happy if I walk away with my pro card. Okay. That being said, I won't be distraught or discouraged or sad if I don't have that pro card, but I would feel more fulfilled. As fulfilled as I feel already from this prep, just how me and Brandon and I handle things, I feel really good. So I'm going to be happy regardless, but I would be just extremely happy if I get that pro card.
Okay. So I want to ask you, you mentioned earlier, kind of in the beginning of our conversation, Alberto, that here, I don't know, recently, maybe the last year or even less than that, you kind of maybe been doing some like soul searching, reflecting, working on the inside in a person of yourself. If you don't mind, I just want to ask you, like, how has your mindset maybe been different this year during this prep leading into this last competition in North Americans? Like, how do you feel that your mind and your individual being has shifted or changed as you have been doing some of that inner work that can be very difficult at times?
I'd say the biggest thing, which we've touched on, is me being able to be present. Because each time in the past where, like you said, my anxiety gets the best of me, because I'm thinking about getting to the end. So I'm like, all right, I'm 6 weeks out. I feel like crap. I'm done with this. I want to eat. I don't care what happens. Just get me to the end. And like, I'm so caught up on the next day and getting it done, which messes with my sleep, and my anxiety is crazy. My body just stops responding. And that's kind of what happened for a little bit for nationals. Granted, that was a long, grueling prep, but I just handled things wrongly prior to this year. So as I've done that soul searching, it really allowed me to just focus on the task at hand, the day at hand, so I can take things day by day and not so much worry about the end, but making sure I do what I need to do during.
Perfect. How far do you want to take this competitive bodybuilding thing? When you're all done competing, when your time's up being a competitive bodybuilder, what do you want to have accomplished when that time's up?
I guess I don't have necessarily anything specific that I want to do, but I guess I just want to take competitive bodybuilding as far as I can, and hopefully pro competitive bodybuilding. it is something that I would love to be a bigger career for me, you know, and you do more with and be able to venture out more with. And if that's the case for me, awesome, you know. But if not, you know, at 30 years old, I'm you know, content with whatever. But I will say, like, as long as that fire is here for me and I love bodybuilding the way I do, I'll push as hard as I can,
Yeah.
you know, as long as God allows me.
Mhm. What are you some of the younger people that are watching or listening to this that are thinking about getting into bodybuilding, or they just got into it? Like, we all have a starting point. What are a couple things that you would maybe want to share with them, just to maybe keep in mind, or some things that maybe you wish you would have known when you first got in bodybuilding that you've now learned that you can share with us?
Looking back again from my personal road, uh, I would say to you, please be patient. I mean, be extremely patient. You've got guys, again, for me, this physique took 10 plus years to build, and it's not even like top tier, you know. I'm not top tier, so keep that in mind that everybody's going to respond differently, and don't listen to someone who tells you to dabble in drugs to get there quicker, because that's not going to work either. Get yourself in order, understand the diet, understand mechanics, and understand the way your body moves before anything. And give yourself time, especially if you're like 15, 16, 17 years old. That's something you don't even need to think about, you know. Like, you're just starting. Another thing I would say is definitely focus on internal health, as far as like digestion and joints. Try to take care of yourself as quick as possible for as long as possible, so you're not dealing with injuries later on in life. That's just my two takeaways.
Yeah, those are wise words, man. It's very that's very important. What do you feel like the biggest lesson you've learned up to this point from bodybuilding specifically?
Um, all in all, patience, patience, because I've watched something, I forget who said it. I think it might have been one of your podcasts. That we're in a patient sport with impatient people,
Yeah,
or something. I can't remember where I saw it. I think it was from you, but
yeah,
I'm not. My patience level is not that great, so to speak. But the fact is, bodybuilding doesn't give you a choice but to be patient.
right.
So that's kind of a good thing.
Yeah, yeah. I can I've done so many uh, podcasts here lately. I don't know who said it. It was somebody just recently though, and I remember I was like, ooh, that's a good one. You know, I because
Yeah,
I love quotes, man. I'm a quote junkie. I would have quotes hanging everywhere if I took the time to do it. So yeah,
right.
that was a legit one. That was good. And that's just the truth, man. Like, you know, I'm 5 years older than you. I'm 35, and it's like, man, like we live in such a I want it right now world, and basically anything we want, we can have it right now, which I
Right.
just really think that really can hurt us as human beings and hinder us. But like you said, bodybuilding, if you truly love this endeavor, this experience, what we call bodybuilding, like, it forces you to be patient because you have to put in the work. You have to put in the time, right?
Mhm.
So there's so many beautiful levels to bodybuilding. There's so much beauty, I personally believe, within this experience of bodybuilding. So hit the nail right on the head. Alberto, we're gonna start wrapping it up here, man. I do want to ask you, I've been asking some of the guests here lately just some more lighthearted, fun questions, because hey, you know, we got to have a little fun even when you're just a few days out from stepping on stage. This is one I love to ask some of the guys here recently. What's your biggest gym pet peeve, or if you have a couple of them, what are they?
Um, Hogging dumbbells, excessive yelling, and slamming weights for no reason.
Okay.
I really hate. Oh, and I'm sorry, the boombox. I can't stand the boombox in the gym.
Now, what do you mean by the boom box? Like somebody carrying one around, or what?
Like, they legit have like a, you know, like an out loud speaker you would play for your home,
Yeah.
and they would put it, you know, in their group of friends, and play music like that. I'm just like, dude, wear your damn headphones. Like, this isn't for you. I get so frustrated.
Yeah, yeah. Now the gym that you train at is Brandon's gym, right? He opened that and owns it.
Yes, sir.
Does he take care of people like that, or does he let that type of stuff go?
Oh no, stuff like that doesn't happen there. That
Okay.
was just like a pet peeve that used to happen like at my old gyms. Yeah,
Okay. I was gonna
but
say
no,
Brandon probably
he
wouldn't
would
allow
kick
none
them
of
out.
that.
Oh no, 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 he would kick them out right away.
Okay. Okay. Now excessive like yelling, what level are we talking about? Because there's like, there's like the grunting, and then
Right.
there's different levels. So what type of yelling in the gym is your pet peeve? Like what level are we talking about?
You don't need to grunt if you're warming up with 30-pound dumbbells on presses. Like, you really don't need to do that.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
nobody needs to see you in the gym. You don't need to take your shirt off in the gym and make all that noise. Just
yeah.
do what you got to do.
Yeah. All right. Cool, man. Fair enough. I like it. It's good.
Yeah.
Let's really quickly. I do want to touch on Brandon's gym, because I've seen pictures on Instagram. I'm sure it's just over the top amazing. I know that he's got, like, special equipment there. Talk about that. It's something Rails. What's the name of the gym? Where's it at? And just talk about the environment there.
So the name of the gym is called Iron Rails Training Facility. It's located in, like, I guess it's technically Maryville, Indiana, but it has like which is the next city over, Crown Point address thing, kind of whatever. But anyways, so it's like located by these car dealerships, and it's like in a garage type gym.
Cool.
So it's pretty cool because in the summertime, like now, holy crap, it gets hot in there, and we all love it in there. Um, but it's like a new school environment with the old school feel. Just again, because me and Brandon, for the most part, come from like the same background of the gym, of like that World Gym, mom and pop gym, which is kind of what he recreated. Because when I first started going there and he was there, it was a smaller gym and it was more like a close knit family there, you know. And I met a lot of other bodybuilders. I'm not sure if you know Juanita Blano.
No.
She's a female bodybuilder, Olympian, like years ago and stuff. I think she's getting back into training now. But anyways, people like her would help me out during training when I first started and stuff like that. But essentially, that's what this gym is, and just everybody from all types of life. People just coming in to work out, feel good. People who want to try competing, or other competitive bodybuilders. Just everyone here pushing each other to get better, and that's the environment that he wants to emulate and that I love to be around. No cockiness, no arrogance, no I'm better than you because I have muscle kind of thing. It's like the thing, sorry, I'm rambling, but the thing that annoys me the most about like what I see today in the community of bodybuilders is they think the muscle makes them superior when again it's so temporary. It's not gonna last, you know.
Yeah.
But again,
Okay, one more fun question, then we're going to wrap it up here, Alberto. In terms of gym equipment, first of all, do you have like a favorite old school brand, like, like Cybex or a Flex or something like that? And then if there's like one piece of equipment that you could have, what would it be? So favorite old school brand and one piece, if you could use it, like a Smith machine or something like that, what would that piece of equipment be?
I will say I do love Cybex a lot. Cybex leg press is one of my favorites, but I I think at that World Gym that I was talking about that I used to go to, I'm pretty sure it's a Cybex hack squat. I can't remember, but it was like very steep, and sometimes it'd be harsh, but then if you caught it on like a good angle, it was one of the best hack squats I've ever used. I loved it. I don't even know where it's at this day, but it was one of my favorites.
Yeah, I know a lot of people love the Cybex, and I've heard I think it was James Hollingshead on one of his YouTube videos. He said that like if he could have like one piece of leg equipment, it'd be a Cybex hack squat. So that's kind of saying a lot, right? Especially with all the new equipment that we have nowadays. So, all right, Alberto. First of all, man, I just want to say thanks again for coming on the podcast. You and all the other guests that I've had on this weekend. You guys are 3-4 days out. You're deep into prep. I know that you guys are right there. So I greatly appreciate you coming on, man, chopping it up with myself and all the Behind the Muscle podcast subscribers and listeners. It's really greatly appreciated, man. Before I do a quick outro, I just want to give you the opportunity to share anything, any shout outs, any final thoughts, any final words, anything that you want to leave with us. I'm going to turn it over to you. I'll do a quick outro and that'll be a wrap. Make sure you give us your Instagram as well. Okay.
Yes, sir. First of all, I want to say I appreciate you having me on. It was pretty cool having you reach out because I have been watching, for a good while. So I was like, I always wondered, I was like, would I ever get the call to come on? So I thought that was pretty cool. That being said, I would like to give a huge shout out and thank you to my sponsor, Condemn Labs. Also Crown Custom Belts. They've been hooking me up and making sure I'm taken care of. I've been doing some work with Iron Rebel, so that's pretty cool. Final thoughts is just I'm having a blast. Like I said, even though I'm tired and all that, it was cool coming on here and speaking to you and giving each other thoughts and everything.
Yeah. What's your Instagram handle?
Instagram handle is Alberto _Leo _Acosta.
Okay. And then Condemn Labs, you have a discount code, and for Iron Rebel, do you have a discount code? If so, what are they so people can use it if they like?
Condemn Labs discount code is Salvation. Make sure it's TIAN at the end. And for Iron Rebel, it's Acosta 10.
Okay. Awesome. And I think if I remember correctly, both of those are in your bio for Instagram. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. And then Crown Custom too, also as well as Salvation IAN 15.
Perfect. All right, Alberto, I appreciate your time, my man. Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. Appreciate your time as well.
Yeah, you're welcome. All of you who are tuning into another episode of Behind the Muscle podcast, I just want to say thank you so very much. I appreciate all of you. I value all of you. Two quick things here as we wrap up this conversation with Alberto today. Make sure you go to YouTube, hit that subscribe button. We are, as I checked just a little bit ago, we're 5 subscribers away now from 1,000. So if you are not subscribed to BTM on YouTube, make sure you go over there, hit that subscribe button. Please help us to get to 1,000, over 1,000. And it's just important that you're subscribed to BTM on YouTube because I release all these episodes first on YouTube, and then I'll distribute them to Castbox and iTunes and some of the other major podcast platforms. So if you do want to stay up current with BTM, all of these episodes that we're dropping, make sure you are subscribed on YouTube. And then one other favor, take this episode of Alberto, share it on your Instagram stories. Make sure you tag Alberto. Go ahead and tag Brandon Beckrich, Alberto's coach. And then also make sure you tag Behind the Muscle podcast. And then one other quick favor, why don't you go over to Alberto's Instagram if you're not following him already, give him a follow, encourage him along with all these other guests that I've had on the podcast over the weekend that are 3-4 days out from stepping on the North American stage. Just give these guys follows, send them an encouraging DM, reach out to them. These are all awesome athletes. They're all awesome individuals. And I just really want to encourage all these guys as they wrap up this prep. And some of these guys are going to be IFBB pros here in a short amount of time. So make sure you give Alberto a follow on Instagram if you haven't done so already. And then finally, I will leave you all with this. Remember, behind the muscle, there's always a story. We'll catch you guys later.